So you want to know why Trump saved TikTok, why he really wanted to ban it a while ago, and then suddenly he saves it? There was a secret deal that Trump made. I'll tell you about that in a second, but first we need to start in Trump's first term, when he first wanted to ban TikTok. There's two big reasons why Trump wanted to ban TikTok in his first term. The first is TikTok is a check on government power. People hear about what's going on in the government, just like in this video right here, and they say, hey, that's not right. And they ask the government what's going on. Second reason, TikTok at the time was way more left-leaning than it is now. So we all know Trump's attempt to ban TikTok did not work out during his first term. So why did the Democrats ban it? Because they originally wanted to save TikTok while Trump was trying to ban it. Well, I've talked about it a lot, and the main reason is the pro-Israel lobby and the influence they have over our Congress. When Israel started bombing Gaza after October 7th with U.S. bombs, TikTok became a threat to Zionism. Why? Because it was showing the world Israel's crimes. And so the pro-Israel lobby had to do something about that. They lobbied Congress and got them to insert the TikTok ban alongside a weapons package for Israel last spring. So that's how the ban got sent into action. Now let's go back to Trump. Now, as you might remember, last spring, Trump was involved in a bunch of court cases. E. Jean Carroll defamation, Stormy Daniels, January 6th, fraud in New York. Throughout all these cases, he racked up almost $500 million in fines. But Trump's a billionaire. He could just pay that off. No, he couldn't. Trump was screwed. Because of the nature of some of his convictions, specifically fraud in New York, where he inflated the assets of his properties in order to take loans out on them, Trump did not have the cash on hand to pay those fines. All of his money is locked up in properties which have loans taken out for them, and when he tried to go get people to lend him money, they all said no. No one would lend him money, to the point where Trump was so desperate, he was tweeting on Truth Social asking Saudi oil billionaires to give him $2 billion to win the election and pay his legal fines. What were Trump's options at this point? Well, he had a bunch of properties which he could technically try to sell and generate enough cash to pay off the fines. The problem was those properties were loaned out on other assets. So it was like a house of cards that would have all collapsed, and people would have paid, the bottom dollar for those properties, knowing Trump was in a really dire situation. Now we're getting to the good part. I need to tell you about this man, Jeff Yass. He's a billionaire, the richest man from Pennsylvania, and he also owns a 15% stake in ByteDance. Now, if you know anything about Jeff Yass, you'd know that he's a conservative, but he's anti-Trump. He's always been anti-Trump. In 2020, he spent tens of millions of dollars opposing Trump, actually. But something happened after that TikTok ban was signed into law by President Biden that spring. Jeff Yass's investment in ByteDance was threatened. If TikTok US gets banned, ByteDance loses a lot of money, and so does Jeff Yass. And so that spring, Jeff Yass showed up to a Trump fundraising event where he made a large donation to Trump's campaign and also made a deal to save Trump's ass if Trump saved his. And like I said, Trump needed money desperately to pay the courts, and Jeff Yass was his guy. What other assets did Trump have? No one would loan him money on his properties. He couldn't sell them. No one would just loan him money. They didn't trust him. He owned one thing, though, and that's the Truth Social business. Truth Social was worth some money, right? It's a minor platform worth a few $1 million at least, but not nearly enough to cover his court costs. Why are we talking about Truth Social? Well, the problem with Truth Social is that it was private at the time last year. Trump needed a way to make it a publicly traded asset. Normally, when you have a private corporation, to take it public, you need to IPO, an initial public offering. You have to go through the SEC, jump through a bunch of regulation. It's a costly, time-consuming process. Trump needed a way to do it fast. So there's actually a way to get around all of that without having to go through all the regulation, and it's called using a special purpose acquisition company, or a SPAC. It's a publicly listed company that merges with private assets. Its only purpose is to merge and put those private assets into their company, so it's now publicly traded without having to IPO, talk to the SEC, go through all that regulation. Trump used a SPAC called Digital World Acquisition to merge with his Truth Social business and take those assets public, to which he is a majority stakeholder of. When it went public, its ticker was changed to DJT for Donald J. Trump, and its market cap shot up to the multi-billions. Yet its only assets were the Truth Social business, which is, like I said, worth only a few $1 million. It actually loses money. Like I said, Trump's the majority stakeholder. He used his shares in DJT to take out loans to pay off his legal fines. And do you know who owns the SPAC he used to do this? None other than Jeff Yass. He saved Trump's ass. Now it's time for Trump to do the same for him. And so you'll see, Trump never talks about banning TikTok since that happened. So you'll see that shortly after all of this happened last spring, Trump joins TikTok, starts posting about it. The first video he makes, he goes, "I'm gonna save TikTok." I'm sure a bunch of you guys have seen that video. He has wild success with the platform, huge boost to his campaign. I think he got like 57 billion plus views on TikTok. So in these past 2-3 months, as this ban has gotten closer and closer to happening, as we all remember, Trump met with the TikTok CEO at Mar-a-Lago where they discussed saving TikTok. Trump invited the TikTok CEO to the inauguration, as well as Jeff Yass. They were all sitting together with the other tech oligarchs. That's why Trump sent the brief to the Supreme Court telling them not to ban it. That's why he signed the executive order keeping TikTok running. So that's the deal that was made. That's how it went down. That's why Trump's opinion changed. That's why he joined TikTok. That's why he wanted to save it. And if you wanted to support me continuing to make this content for all you guys while I am in college, there's a link in my bio where you can support me. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.